Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Hewkii and Flammeus show, where we discuss music and consciousness.
Welcome back, everybody. And let me tell you, we did a lot of exactly that on this episode. What an absolute pleasure.
Indeed, it was a very special guest that we have on today. And this is not just, we have a special guest, it's a special guest.
This is a very special conversation indeed.
Yeah,
Just like absolute, such a stimulating interaction to take part in. And I'm sure it's going to be a super stimulating podcast listening experience as well.
indeed. And this week's guest is Ed Wynne, which also happens to be my favorite musician of all time, tied with Shpongle in the first place, but I couldn't pick.
And I had not heard of this guy or his music before Helki said we're going to have him on as a podcast guest. I was like, all right, sent me some songs to check out. So that's all I knew going in. I was in for a bit of a surprise about halfway through or three-quarters of the way through the conversation, which I'm sure it's going to be surprising to some of our listeners as well.
Indeed. So stick around for that. And without further ado, we bring you Ed Wynne.
Enjoy. We're live. Welcome to the show, Ed. So nice to have you on.
Very nice to be here. Thank you.
So yeah, I think I'll just start off by getting some of my fangirling out of the way. Like
Okay.
Ozric Tentacles is my favorite band of all time. I love you guys' music. You can see, I'm wearing the
Yeah.
Earthband Ozric merch, and I don't know if you can tell. Can you tell which artwork from the Ozrics this is based on? It's a work in progress, but
Wow, look at that. Wow. It's a bit blurry here, but it's definitely a creature on there, a character. What is it? Which bit is it?
so it's based on waterfall cities.
Oh, all right. I wasn't expecting that. That's really
Yeah.
well. Yeah.
It might have been a little blurry, but there's a waterfall and a couple buildings on there.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. Nice. Yeah, I
we
did
might,
see the water.
we might
Yeah.
be able to put a picture up just for clarity
Yes.
when
Yeah.
we publish this.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Wonderful. All right. Good.
so like one of the main kind of or the main central theme of this podcast is we discuss music and consciousness. And I think it's kind of obvious you guys' music is just it's very spiritual, or that's at least the vibe I get from it. And I think music and consciousness, I think like from the dawn of man, music has been used as a vehicle of exploring consciousness. And at some point in the timeline, it got commodified and just became entertainment purely. But I'm curious if you could speak a little bit about kind of this connection of music and spirituality.
Well, for me, it's always been a thing. It's something I don't deliberately go out to be particularly spiritually minded when I'm making tunes because I just do them because I really enjoy doing it. And
Right.
but then there's something which normally happens, which is there becomes some kind of a connection to something in there,
Right.
which I try and achieve once every tune, live and in the studio at least once. And yeah, I mean for me it does. It saves my sanity. It keeps me happy, and hopefully it keeps other people happy too. Really. And but of course, yeah, I mean, music does tap into a different realm. We know this. Well, I assume it. Could be completely wrong, but from what I can gather, is when you get a certain set of harmonies, they can open a doorway to somewhere which isn't about physicality. It's more like a place to hover in your mind where I don't know. It just seems to work for me. It just seems to calm it down for me, and people tell me that they like the effect of that.
I like that you say you said a set of harmonies. By that, do you mean a chord progression essentially?
No, not even a chord progression. Just even if one chord or a set of resounding, when you get a load of notes and they all harmonize in a pleasant
Yeah,
way. Really.
yeah,
Can
that's
be a
it.
scale, can be a chord, can be birdsong if you're lucky on a good day.
Because
Yeah.
I just really I really relate to that myself. I'm doing, for context, we haven't met before. I'm doing a jazz. I just finished a jazz bachelor's degree here in Germany, actually
Oh
on
wow,
the
all right.
electric bass, and I'm starting my master's now in jazz performance on the electric bass, just the same as the
Wow.
bachelor's. And aside from that, I'm like a singer songwriter. I play the guitar and the piano mostly when I'm writing my songs, and base my
Uh-huh.
music on like the Beatles and jazz. So it's like kind of becoming an amalgam of jazz as well since I've been studying it.
It
Uh,
sounds like a good combination.
Thank you. But anyway, not saying that to brag or anything,
No, for sure,
uh,
but this is what we do. Yeah.
just to bring it to the point that harmony is my favorite part of music making as well. So it's funny to hear that resonating. Like,
Yeah.
because some people are more concentrated on melody or counterpoint or rhythm
Yeah.
or
Or
yeah,
yeah. Yeah.
or any of the other parameters. But for me, it's always been, if I find a nice sounding chord, it's like, "Whew, I gotta make this into a song."
Yeah. Right from a chord, even from that. Yeah. I know. I know what you mean. It's cool, isn't it? It's funny where it all comes from. That all the inspiration comes from very different areas. Most of the time, weirdly enough, it's when I wake up in the morning, go in the studio, switch on the synths and see if they're working, have it coming through, and then suddenly, hang on a minute, what's that? There's normally my first thought of the day is like quite a relevant little hook line or something. So then I'm madly grabbing at the computer and or whatever I've got to record on and trying to put it somehow record it so that I don't forget it because it will go. I'll have a cup of tea and it'll go and it'll be gone and that'll be that. So
Yeah.
the early morning first thought of the day musically is normally for me a very relevant one.
Ah, very interesting. And do you contextualize that in any kind of spiritual way, or do you tell a story about it? Like it being the muse whispering to you, and you gotta, like, when the
Well,
muse whispers, you better be ready with a pen and paper. You know?
yeah, it could be that. I mean, I try to have some form of recording system anywhere near me. Normally, it's a telephone now, which is good. It's normally fairly nearby, so I can grab that. But it doesn't sound so good. But yeah, I think in the morning your mind is empty, which is a good place. I did have this funny theory at one point of the fact that every day you get a certain amount of good notes. It can be a big amount or a small amount, depending on who you are and what you're doing and what sort of mood you're in. But I normally find that when I'm doing a guitar part, I'll get it sounding nice, and then I'll record the first one without even practicing it, just because it's the purest one you'll get for me. And if I'm lucky, that'll come out good. I think throughout the day, if you keep trying the same solo all over and over and over and over again, I think it loses its magical, magical innocence or something. I don't know how to put it.
I resonate with this. There is a certain purity to the first take, and sometimes when you kind of get bogged down trying to,
Yeah,
it's a pattern when it comes to music making in general. Like when you're really trying to get a part to work and it's not coming together. Sometimes for me, it's even just a matter of just erasing that and doing something else that flows. Because anytime
exactly.
you
Yeah.
get bogged down, it's kind of that's not the most optimal energy for creativity.
No, unless it's a very written part, which has to be played perfectly. You've got to get, for the
Yeah,
sake of the multi-track nature of it all. This
right.
goes a little bit for sound checks and live gigs as well. I find that if we have a really amazing sound check, have the best jam in the world and feel really good about it, then it's almost like we've used it up in the sound check and we've got less notes to play with by the time the gig comes along.
All right. You're
It's a
not the
weird
only
one.
person I've heard speak about this specific thing of like saving your the magic for the performance and
Getting the best
and
notes, yeah.
yeah.
It always comes up every time I do a sound check for a jazz gig or anything. It's
Yeah.
like the sound check goes badly, everybody's like, "Fuck yes, we're in for a good show."
Yeah, almost if you do a bad sound check, it makes you even more determined to do a really good show to make up for the bad sound check.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to touch in a little bit on Timmy was speaking about like all the different parameters by which music can be interesting.
Uh-huh.
Uh, I really find that you guys' music is interesting from all the different levels. Like for me, it's harmonically interesting. It's interesting in terms of sound design and texture. Um, like for me, you capture such a wide area. Like you've got the rock and roll spirit, you've got the experimentation of jazz, and you've got the sound design from electronic music. It's for me, it's like this perfect combination.
I want to
That
hop
Oh,
on
is,
this. I want to hop on this and say
yeah,
I was so pleasantly surprised that when I mean, I was checking out your music for the first time in preparation for this episode.
oh,
I
okay.
honestly, I mean, I hate to break it to you, but I had never actually heard of your band,
Oh,
and
wow. Okay. Well,
and
there's a
then I
few
just got,
tunes there.
it was like, yeah, it was time. And I listened to, what was the album you sent me, Helgi? I totally,
it was Wonderful Cities and Erpland.
Oh,
Erpland,
yeah. All
Erpland.
right. Yeah.
I was listening to, I believe it was Erpland. When I was listening to that, I was like, this could actually, at times, just be a weather report album. You know, there are
Yeah.
bits of it that kind of, because it's all like really long or a lot of it is really long instrumental tracks,
Yeah.
and then it has all these weird jazz harmonies and odd meter as well, and
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
it was just, yeah, such a joy to listen to. I'm really
No, I'm really
happy
glad you
here.
liked it. I'm
Yeah.
really happy you liked it. It's great. I mean, you see, I'm quite fortunate because from very early on, I kind of enjoyed many different kinds of music, and I thought, well, I don't want to have a band that with just one sound. I'm just going to make all these tracks completely different, exactly what I feel like I want to do. So in a way, it's kind of lucky like that for me. It happened to work as a thing that I can just do anything I like on these albums and get away with it pretty much.
Yeah,
As long,
not only
as
get
long as you
away
have,
with it, but like play huge shows and be very
well,
successful.
yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, yeah, I suppose, yeah. Keeping myself vaguely alive with it is nice, you know. I think-
Yeah, you're creatively free. That's
yeah, a
also
little bit,
something
yeah.
I've really strived for myself. Is as I say, not
Sure.
getting bogged down on anything specific or confining yourself. But the interesting thing is what I've noticed for myself when I do that, it still always sounds like me, even if
I
it's
know,
vastly different styles of music. There's a certain personality that's just inherently me that comes through.
exactly. And it has to. And that's why we find each individual musician has a unique thing, really. Because it is your spirit, isn't it? It's the way your spirit interprets the notes and what kind of almost what shaped hands you got, what your skeleton does, how it behaves, what you can reach and what you can't reach. And
It's your entire being that comes
it
through.
is. Yeah, I know. It really is. It's cool, isn't it? It's a funny
It's
way.
interesting. Also with guitar, you can learn a part from or a solo from a guitar player, but it's never really gonna sound exactly like them. Just like every little shape of the finger and how they strike the string with a pick. It's all
Yeah,
these tiny
yeah,
little increments that come together.
yeah. The speed of the vibrato, the how much you bend a note, whether you bend it just too much or just underneath, depending on the feel you want for the bending of the strings and all this. It's all very microtonal, actually, is what it
Yeah,
is.
for sure.
So much variability. There's so many parameters that can be like you can slide slightly up or slightly down.
It's so cool, yeah, and it's still in, but it's kind of has a feeling of pushing or pulling or something. And when
Yeah.
I play, whenever I play, there's a track actually on that Airplane album that you're talking about called Sunscape, which is a
Love that.
very much in the D chord shape, you know, an open D. And I always tune the top string, the top E. I'll tune it just sharp a little bit. Otherwise, the chord is not bright enough for me. You know, it gives it a little bit more sunshine.
Yeah, yeah. Dude, I feel like this is like this for me is just the hallmark of musical maturity, I would say, like growth, because this is the
Yeah.
kind of stuff you don't get when you're first starting out.
No, you
And
really don't. Yeah, yeah,
like you don't, because I just remember so many times trying to learn micro rhythms, for example, these like really tiny details in the rhythmic landscape of a groove. When
okay.
I was trying to, I don't remember what it was. It might have been jazz, it might have been bossa nova, I don't know. But you know, any kind of music that has that kind of micro rhythms to it, where you know the swing of jazz is not precisely triplets. You know, it's supposed to
No,
be
it's
da
not.
ga
No.
da ga da ga da, but it's actually it's slightly longer than that. You know, the
Yeah,
gap
you can push
between the
it.
notes. But it's
Yeah,
a micro rhythm, and you can only really get into it by playing jazz enough with people who know how to do it. That's the only way you can really internalize how the groove really feels.
It's
yeah,
And
intuitive.
yeah.
that's been such a revelation for me recently. I was in Brazil uh last year for an exchange year, and I played a lot of gigs and shows. I got very fortunate in the music scene. It's a very active music scene in Salvador in Brazil where I was. It's yeah, very very active. There's always a samba somewhere, and there's always a bassist missing. So I got called up a lot, just like last minute. Here's a set list of 40 songs, gigs in 3 hours. You know,
Oh my God, brilliant! Yeah,
well, all right. So I had to learn all this Brazilian repertoire and then go play it with people with natives, who grew up with this. And there's a really strong music scene in Brazil, so they don't get influenced by foreign music very much. It's mostly that their own music that they grow up with. So everybody's internalized the feel and the vibe of the music so hard, and it like just through osmosis, you kind of pick it up.
yeah. Was that? Did it feel like you were a little out of your depth to start with?
Oh, yes.
I can imagine.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I remember playing a gig and the drummer just looking at me like, nah, man, this is
Really?
just like, yeah. Because I was not. It sounds so simple. All you're supposed to do as the bassist is doom, tku, doom, tku, doom, tku, doom, tku, doom, tku, doom. But you're feeling it with the backbeat because you're a Western musician, or because you're a European musician and you're used to playing jazz. So you're feeling it like ding, ticka, ding, ticka, ding, ticka, ding, like jazz, which just felt like
Yeah,
ding, ticka,
yeah,
ding, ticka, ding, ticka, ding on the two and the four instead of
yeah.
on the one and the three, and it totally messes up the feel.
Oh God, yeah.
Like ding,
It's
ticka, boom, ticka, boom, ticka, dong. The heavy beats are on the bass notes, and
Yeah.
it just sounds whack if you don't get that right.
Ah, yeah, you got to get that right. Yeah, for sure. No, it's good for you though. I love playing with people who are outplaying me. Playing with people who are better. It's
Yeah.
it's always a pleasure, you know.
Yeah.
Um, it pushes you, you know. It's good stuff.
Did it feel like that in the band? With the other band members?
Not to me, it didn't. No, not really. No, I was, not really. Um, no, I sometimes felt like I was pulling them all along in
Yeah.
a big crowd, pulling them along.
you're the only
Sometimes,
member who's been around for the whole journey. And
sure, yeah.
when I was growing up, I grew up listening to The Cure, and I remember as a little kid, speaking to my mom like, "Hey, like Robert Smith is the only person who's been in the band the whole time." And I remember her
Mm.
saying, well, maybe he's just really hard to work with.
Could be. It
And
could
I'm
be.
curious, like, are you very demanding to a point where it's like it's difficult for people to um kind of follow along in the band? Because I remember like hearing from Merv Papler, Eat Static, who used to be your drummer, and he was speaking about his time in the Ozrics, and the word he used was complicated. It was very complicated.
Well,
Um,
yeah. I mean, well, yeah. Yeah, I suppose it is really, especially for him at that time. He was quite young. He was only like 21, 22
right.
when he was in the band, you know, and before that, he'd been in a psychobilly band called, God, I can't remember even the name now. It's Frenzy, band called Frenzy. He was their drummer and they did sort of tours around Europe. And then suddenly he joined our band and suddenly he was going to play in sort of 7/8 and stuff like that, weird time signatures and sort of jazzier and lighter than what he was used to. Yeah, so for him, it was very complicated, really, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, it's for anybody, really. Looking back on it, when I listen back to these albums, I do really rate his drumming still as probably the most.
Amazing. I love his drumming, and he brought such an interesting, almost punk energy to the
Exactly.
Ozrics.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw him actually 1 week ago. I saw him play. He played very near here, Eat Static gig, and there he was, still at it. Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good fun.
Yeah,
He
he's one of my favorite musicians as well. Like his electronic stuff is out of this world.
Yeah,
Eat
I
Static.
think
I recommend
it's the
people check
best.
that out. Yeah.
It is the best of that ilk for me, anyway.
Yeah, for me it's him and Shpongle of that ilk.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, isn't it funny, really? But it's the music that opens the doors to the other realm.
Very much so. And it all connects together because like for the past few years I started getting to Gong, and I
Yeah.
know you guys were very influenced by Gong. And then I heard an interview with Simon Pusford from Shpongle where he was talking about how Erpland specifically was a very big influence on his sound. So I
Hmm.
do see this as almost kind of a lineage that moves like Gong gives birth to, you know, the Ozrics, and the Ozrics kind of influences Shpongle and is kind of this
Yeah, yeah.
caterpillar through time almost.
It's a really nice way of putting it. That is, yeah. I mean, it feels great, and it's a friendly thing. You know, we aren't. There's no weirdness there at all. You know, if we we love each other's music and don't mind that it's a blurry definition sometimes between them all.
Right.
Yeah, it's nice. I haven't seen Simon for quite a long time now, but he's busy, busy, busy.
Okay,
Seems.
yeah, I didn't know you knew him.
Yeah, well, vaguely knew him. Yeah, I mean, I've met him a few times and sat in the studio a couple of times and hung out at festivals and had fun. And yeah, he actually came to my house at one point when he did a remix of one of our tunes.
Oh yes, wait, I'm trying to remember. I can't remember which tune it was, but
What was it? Sploosh, was it? Something Sploosh track.
it could be.
And one
I
of
have
the,
something else in my mind
I
also.
know, yeah, I know what you mean. It's called. Oh, I can hear it in my head. I can't remember the name of
Yeah, same.
it
We'll
now.
figure it out.
Sun
Okay.
hair, sun hair, sun
Sun.
hair.
Right.
That was the tune. And yeah, no, wait a minute, no, that was Steve Village's one, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think that must have been Steve. Yeah.
It was, yeah. No, I can't remember which one he did now.
Right. But you bring up Sun Hair. I wanted to bring a story um, to this conversation because music is a very big tool for kind of validation for people. Sometimes when
Hmm.
a person is sad or going through a heartbreak, they may listen to kind of a heartbreak song to feel this sense of validation. And I remember when I was a young man, like in my late teens, and I was starting to.
Not as if you're an old man now.
No, I'm older, but I mean, like, I was not quite a teenager, not quite an adult, you know. I was kind of in the middle experimenting with psychedelics.
Yeah.
And I remember this moment where I was on mushrooms and I was laying down by a fence and I was looking up at the sky and I was listening to that song, Sun Hair. And there was just this feeling that dawned on me of like, these guys, they understand. Like, there was this sense of validation of like, whatever I'm going through right now is somehow you guys have tapped into the same feeling.
Oh, really? Oh.
And it's I think that's a lot of what psychedelic music has offered to people because I remember like there was nobody around that I knew that could relate to this experience. But through the music, I could sense that I was not alone.
Mhm. No, very much so. Yeah, absolutely. And when I make these tunes, I'm aware that some people get very spaced out when they listen to them. So in a way, the responsibility you have to give people a nice journey.
Right.
And I sometimes take it to weird places there, and strange musical bits, but I always try and like land nicely afterwards so that people don't get too lost out there.
Right.
Yeah.
It's friendly mostly. Like you don't do like a Shpongle. They'll sometimes like fuck with you a bit. They'll put like a dog barking in the background or the sound of somebody opening a door.
I know, I know, it's so cool, isn't it? I
That
mean,
is so. That is. I would call that uncool.
no, no,
So
I mean, well, the first time it happened to me was many years ago listening to an album by a band called Hatfield in the North, who were sort of like a Canterbury style proggy sort of jazzy band. And they had this one bit where there was a telephone ringing in the days where we had bells on the phones, and I could hear they recorded it from a different room. And every time I'd run out of the room to try and find the telephone. It would just ring every time. It's so funny. It worked well. I like this.
yeah, it brings me to another conversation I did want to touch on, which is humor in music. And this is
Yeah.
something I really feel a lot in your music. You do get kind of, you're serious about your stuff. You do it well and it's very well crafted, but you don't seem to take yourself too seriously. And there's a lot of humor and funny things that happen in your music.
This is the thing which I like to do a lot. Yeah, yeah. It keeps it light. And what it means, actually, funnily enough, it means young children like it as well. Because they hear these silly noises and think, wow, that's fun. So, yeah, the humor, it's got to, for me, if it makes me laugh, it makes me happy.
All right.
And it can be, it doesn't have to be necessarily a sample of a silly voice or anything. It could be a style or anything. Sometimes you find yourself playing different style to normal and it is funny because it's not really where you normally go.
Right. Yeah,
stuff
you
like
play a lot. I remember reggae started to come for you, I think. Was that around Earthbound?
that. Before that,
Okay.
Guns of Belgium, the one before that, yeah, was
Okay.
yeah, and before that as well, actually, even before that,
Yeah. Yeah, it's all very fun. It's all very playful, and I
yeah,
think sometimes that can be missing from especially musicians in the prog sphere. They get
very much.
very serious about all their stuff, and I think it's good to be able to do that, but like when it becomes too serious, it
You can hear it. You can hear that.
yeah.
Hmm.
And for me, really, I mean, if someone asks me what kind of music do you like, I'll say that I like most kinds of music as long as I can hear through the music that people had fun making
Yeah.
enjoyment, rather than some desperate person there trying to get their bit done and getting upset because the clock's ticking too fast and the studio session ends and panic.
Okay, guys,
So
I'm really curious right now. Is there humor in Gong's music? I haven't
yeah,
listened to them.
So
yeah,
much.
there
Okay.
is actually.
So I was just wanted to point out the pattern then that in this whole lineage of spiritual, uh, psychedelic, music that we talked about, there's always a little bit of humor. There's always a degree of not taking yourself too seriously,
Oh yeah,
which is exactly, for me at least, the lesson that psychedelics have taught me more than anything else. Like, don't don't take yourself
definitely,
too seriously. So,
definitely. I think this is the thing. A very, very important life lesson that is. Do not take yourself seriously and do not think that you're any better than anybody else. Because we're all just these little monkeys on this ball of rock in space. And not for very long either. And you've got to have the happy time, really. And if you can give that to other people, then so be it. All the better, really.
yeah.
100%.
Oh.
So I just want to touch on briefly how my journey with the Ozric started, and it was through this one.
Oh, really? That one? Really? Oh, wow.
Yeah, which was
Re-
2015 maybe.
yeah, it's quite a recent one, really, in the grand
Yeah,
scheme of things.
and
Wait, Helgi, I'm sorry to call you out on this live, but you got to get close to the mic.
oh, I'm
Otherwise,
sorry, I'm sorry.
I'm gonna have to compress the crap out of this.
Yeah, you'll have to compress me. I'm reaching over. But it's I find quite an underrated album for you guys, but I may have kind of a special connection to it because it was my introduction. But there are a couple songs on there like the name escapes me, but let me see.
My favorite ones on that was Zen Like Creature. I like that one.
Yes, mine
Um,
too. That's I'm wondering, does the name Technicians of the Sacred, does that come from Terence McKenna?
there's something like this, yeah, yeah. To do with, see, I'm going to get it wrong because I didn't really pay much attention. But it's to do with the Mayan stuff, the Mayan things, stuff. I don't fully
Right.
understand, I'm
I
afraid.
was I
But yeah,
was at some point later after I had discovered this album, I was listening to Terence McKenna and he used this phrase. He was talking about I think the shamans of the Amazon, and he was describing them as technicians of the sacred.
yeah, it wasn't. We didn't come up with it. It was a quote. Somebody did see that written down somewhere,
Right,
and it just, I don't know, in a weird kind of way. It is a little bit what you're doing when you make a tune.
right.
You're using technology to make it sacred.
Yeah,
But,
exactly. And
you know,
that's
so
a
in a
good
way,
description of you as well, I think.
thank you. Yeah, I thought it was slightly egotistical at the time, actually. Well, looking back at it, actually. But whatever.
The song was Switchback, the one that
Oh yeah,
was really hit it for me. For Memory, also Chanka Masala. All of this was just um, it was a revelation for me because it was just, it showed me that music could be kind of this tool for entering into mystical
yeah.
states, not
It's
just
very
entertainment.
interesting. To me, it's very interesting that that is the first one that you heard, actually,
Yeah.
because for me and us lot, it was the definitely not the first one. We've done loads and loads before that, and there was like a kind of conclusion. And then for you to hear that straight off the bat, that's interesting, yeah, because it does have some tunes, but it is slightly overlooked as well. I
Yeah,
think people are afraid of the fact that it's long. It's a double. It's a
right.
commitment. It's like when you see a big book to read, and it's that thick. You think, okay, right, this better be good because it's huge, you know.
The more the merrier for me when it comes to Ozric music. You know, even if it was 4 times longer than this, I'd eat through all of it. Um, and it is interesting because I got it as a Christmas present from my cousin, and incidentally, it was the only Ozric vinyl that was
Was it
currently in
was it
Iceland.
Hafstead? Who was it?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, that
okay,
was him.
Hafstead. That's our tech guy behind the scenes, getting
Oh,
Yeah,
the
okay.
getting the podcast on all the platforms. Shout out to him.
Oh, nice. Right. Cool.
and yeah, this was the only vinyl of from you guys that was in Iceland. So it was interesting coincidence or synchronicity that I was
Sure.
my introductory album.
You must have wondered what was going. You must have thought it was a fairly unusual sounding album, maybe.
No, not really. I mean, I was used to experimental music. I grew up with Dream
Okay.
Theater
Cool.
and very highly progressive stuff. But yeah, but this was like the first time I really kind of felt that kind of mystical vibe
Mhm.
or
Mhm.
connection through the music. Um,
Yeah, we made that one very high up in the Rocky Mountains. That's where we were living at the time.
it was it the same studio as Paper Monkeys,
Yes, it was. No,
Colorado.
no, hang on. No, it wasn't.
Okay,
No, Paper Monkeys was done in a house in Colorado, which then burnt down with a
right.
forest
Oh yeah,
fire, and the whole place was just gone.
yeah.
Luckily, we had some insurance plan going on, and we managed to get another house a little higher up the mountain, and that's where we made the Technicians one.
Well,
Interesting.
so
Because
the whole band was just in a living situation together, essentially in the U.S. Is that?
Not the entire band. No, no. There was about two or three of us were there.
Hmm.
And our drummer lived nearby, and until we got the other drummer who lived in Hungary, he was a Hungarian guy, Balázs. He used to fly over and do drums in our studio up there.
Whoa.
right.
Okay. Yeah. I was just trying to. Well, anyway, sorry to interrupt the thread. I was just curious about the
No, I
history
was
here.
just gonna touch on one very interesting thing about this because I heard her name escapes me, your bassist at the time,
Brandy, yeah,
Brandy.
yeah.
Yes, she was talking about how um, when you guys were mixing Paper Monkeys, that when you were up in the mountains, because the consistency of the atmosphere is different, so you receive the music differently. That it was kind of sounded. Uh, you had to kind of mix it both on top of the mountain and then also check it out at the bottom. Like,
See, I don't know about this. I wasn't so sure about
okay,
that because well, what used to happen is we used to make our mixes, put it on a CD, and put it in the car, and drive down, which was quite a long way down back to the town. And of course, when you're driving down and down and down and down, your ears start to pop, you know.
yeah,
So the music suddenly sort of gets all really tight and strange sounding in your ears. But I think a lot of it was that. I think once you acclimatize to higher air pressure, then it levels out a little bit.
okay.
It should
It's
be
just
it should be quieter. The less air, the thinner it gets. It should be quieter and quieter, shouldn't it? Really?
okay. It's just interesting because I remember listening to that album Top of a Mountain and being like, okay, this kind of feels appropriate. This album was made on a mountain, and now here I am on this mountain. Like it feels like it's made for this.
Maybe that's it. Maybe that's it. Yeah, that's an interesting theory. Actually, that is. Maybe I should go and do that.
Yeah.
Put a disclaimer on the album.
Listen on top of a mountain.
Yeah, for those of you living at sea level, a big apology here. Just,
Yeah, yeah. This isn't gonna do much for you. I'm sorry.
yeah, hire a hot air balloon, jump in a hot air balloon, go up in the air and listen to it then. You'll love it.
Take a long flight over the Atlantic. You might
Oh, that's
catch
so
a
grim,
few.
though, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't like
I just did. I just did. Well, I went to the US for the first time in my life just a week, couple weeks ago. I was there for a week and a half, and I
Oh, right, okay.
recently
Whereabouts?
recently back in Phoenix at first. I was just randomly asked to play the bass in an Oktoberfest gig with a German band doing Oktoberfest in Phoenix, Arizona. So
Okay.
me, an Icelander, I found myself representing Germany in the USA. It was hilarious.
Oh,
And
funny.
and I combined that with a trip over to California as well. I flew over to San Jose, which is right by San Francisco,
Oh,
and
yeah. Yeah.
stayed there with one of our clients in a songwriting community that I run with a business partner there over in San Jose. Or well, she doesn't live there anymore, but she's in California.
Oh,
Um, and so I got to meet all my clients or all our clients in the community and my business partner actually in person for the first time, which was super duper cool. And then
that's
came
nice, isn't it?
back.
Yeah.
But man, the travel time is certainly not fun. That's
It's
that's
not
for
nice.
sure.
I don't like it because you sleep and then you wake up and you think, right, it must be nearly there now. And if you've moved a millimeter on the map,
Yeah,
It's an exercise
my
in detachment for sure.
yeah,
my moment was like when you can watch movies on those planes now, so it's like you can watch movies on all such long flights nowadays. We didn't used to be like that when I was a kid, but now you can watch movies. And so I was watching Hollywood blockbusters all the way for the 12-hour flight from
God, really.
Munich to San Diego is where we flew. Um, and it was like watching 2 to 3 hour blockbusters, and
Oh, yeah.
then being like, we're not even halfway there.
Oh,
It's just like
it's
excruciating. And
yep.
then we landed in San Diego, and we weren't done. That's where we got a rental car, a rental bus with 12 seats for the whole band. Drove 5.5 hours over to Phoenix. It was
Oh,
like coming out of the 12-hour flight and then everybody screaming hallelujah, and then only to be reminded that it was 5 more hours in a bus where if the leg room was a problem on the airplane, on this bus it was a crisis.
oh, man, that
It
sounds
was
great.
And mind you, we come from Iceland, where like you can travel the whole island in like 5 hours
Yeah, the whole thing. Yeah,
bus.
exactly. Yeah.
So
So
we're
for
not
me, it was
used
like
to.
5 hour drive. That's like the longest drive I ever did in Iceland. It's
Yeah,
like the distance from Akureyri, my hometown, to Reykjavik, the capital,
Yeah.
which I've often had to drive. So I was like, wow, I've got that yet to come when we
Oh,
land. I was like, wow. And it was
yeah.
ended up being like 30 hours on the road after 5 hours of sleep. It was like it's
yeah,
totally
we're not
wild.
used to this as island boys.
You see, for me, it was different because we arrived there, and then there's this tour bus, you see, which had beds in it, so we could just go and get on the tour bus and lie down and sleep if we wanted, which was really nice, actually.
Uh, well, it's
After
sick.
that flight.
I'll ask for that next time.
But for me, like travel and music is it's such a beautiful combination. Like some of my favorite moments, the first time I took mushrooms was I was actually traveling the distance from Akureyri to his hometown to Reykjavik across the island. I was going to try the mushrooms for the first time in the north, but I didn't get the chance, and I said, "Well, I'm gonna go on a 5-hour bus trip across Iceland, where I can
Mm.
just watch, out the window." And that was my
Oh, yeah.
first experience with that. And also I did it once on an airplane. Just remember taking off into the air and
Yeah.
feeling the consistency of the music change with the air pressure. Like all
Oh,
of
you
this
did
is
do
very
that.
interesting to me, and
Yeah.
moving in space combined with music always seems to be a great combination for me.
Mm.
You are
Always.
a brave one, Helgi.
I mean,
Wow.
yeah. Yeah. I'd agree with that. Yeah. I mean, I quite often, sometimes eat a lump of hash before getting on the flight. That's always fun. If it's not too long, calms you down a bit, makes you sleepy and all that. It's hard to sleep on them planes.
Right, it is. It is. It
True.
is.
Yeah. Wow. I really need to man up. Apparently,
No, this is not for everybody. This, but it was definitely, worth it, those experiences. But on that note, I did receive some questions from the Ozric community.
Oh, did you?
Somebody, somebody really wanted to know, well, two things. He wanted to know about you guys meeting Timothy Leary in the 90s, and then he
Yeah.
also wanted to know which psychedelics which psychedelics influenced which albums, since you've spoken about the Punch and Effulgent being like a very mushroom inspired album. Uh,
Yeah. As was Earthland. also,
yeah.
because we were in the mushroom fields, everywhere. It was out in the countryside in Wales.
Right.
And yeah, in the studio there. And we got there and I sort of realized it was mushroom season. And then, but I thought, well, I've got a job to do here. I've got to make this music. Of course, the rest of them all went out for a walk, came back with a table with a pile of them like that. It's like, okay, this is getting interesting. And yeah, so that Earthland was pretty much with some of that inside us most of the way through, really, actually. Written, played, and conceived, and recorded, and produced, and everything on quite large amounts of mushroom tea, to be honest.
Wow, that sounds tricky to walk the line of just going all the way and
I'm not
being
talking about.
able to.
I'm not talking about 100% completely and utterly full on tripping, but I'm talking about just a little bit.
Right.
It was almost like keeping us awake, keeping us going. In the end, it didn't feel like you were doing some major thing. It was just like a feeling, really, more. And
It's hard to make music, especially when you're working with technology.
I
I've
don't know. The trick is you have to set it up first.
right.
Get it all set
Okay.
up, and get the studio with everything sounding MIDI together, sounding nice, good sounds, guitar tune up, everything. Go and have your mushrooms, go for a walk, come back, and then jump in the studio with it sounding already very good.
Yeah.
Then you're away,
Okay. Yeah, that's a good tip for people that are trying to combine those two
Yeah.
fields.
No, it does take a bit of. You've got to be quite serious as well, though, because otherwise, it's quite nice. It can be very inspiring, and you can record some nice music. But if you just fool about, then it doesn't. I don't know. It depends what you're like, what kind of person you are, really, and how much you actually live and breathe music. Because for me, I pretty much do it all the time, and so it comes natural. It's just a natural thing. It's like if you're getting all spaced out, you can still speak, you can still walk, you can still make a cup of tea, you can still do the functional things. And one of my functional things happens to be playing music and enjoying guitars and synthesizers and having laughs with it, really.
And you have a very strong vision, like a very clear vision of what you want. That's my impression of you as a musician. But you do fool around kind of in between, it's this kind of seems to be this good balance of you're being playful, but you're also serious about it.
Sure. Yeah, pretty much. And yeah, as
Does
far as
that, sorry, does that balance, you said it comes to you naturally,
yeah.
but do you, a lot of, I mean, in a lot of spiritual circles at least, people do these ceremonies with mushrooms where where they never ever forget the intention setting part at the beginning. Do you consciously
Um,
have something like that, or does it just all, because it seems
in,
like you're so in alignment with everything that you're doing. It's amazing.
yeah, it's kind of very natural to me. What do you mean? In what situation are you talking about?
Just before you take the mushrooms, you sit together in a circle
Not
and
really.
you
Well,
might
we
name an
do.
intention to the group. Yeah.
Not really, no. But I mean, I don't really do it so much anymore, because it's. But what it used to be, we would think, okay, let's do that. Get everything ready in the studio, get it nice, make it look nice, get the recording system ready, and just go in there and start playing. And then the ritual is the sitting down and the drinking of the tea, whatever, the falling about and the laughter of it all and the silliness, and then suddenly, right, let's go in that studio and see where we go.
Okay.
And
And
yeah,
then that leads me straight into the next question. I'm sorry to cut you. I just have so many questions for you
We
right
still
now.
haven't touched on Tim Leary, but we'll put that on
Yeah,
some
yeah.
burner for
I
now.
just I was Googling something about Timothy Leary in
yeah.
relation to what I wanted to ask you after that. That's why I was briefly on my phone there. Sorry about that. But I was gonna say, okay, I have had a lot of good psychedelic experiences that have been very useful to me
Hmm.
in my progress as a human being, trying to be a
Yeah.
better human being. Um, it's shown me a lot of stuff that I wasn't aware of that I needed to do something about. And then I had this one incredibly horrifying bad experience. It was about almost 5 years ago now, and I'm still scared to go really deep on a psychedelic journey now. I'm scared of taking anything over like anything like 5 grams
mm,
of dried mushrooms right now, where you really go on
mm,
a 10-hour heroic journey.
mm, mm.
That's like the prospect of that scares me to my very core right now after that experience I had. Even if it was 5 years ago, and even if I have had a couple really good, really deep experiences since then, it's still something I'm getting over. So I wanted to ask you if you'd ever had like a really bad experience. And
A couple, yeah, a couple I have, yeah, yeah. And I think what those experiences, what they can teach you, is perhaps the nature of the whatever you're taking. Saying, be careful here because if you want to keep your sanity, you don't really want to keep going here too often. It's just a little warning not to just go, this is wonderful, take, because you can blow your mind like this and not really come back to quite the same place if you're not careful. But yeah, I've had it. I remember a festival, yeah, some Stonehenge festival many, many years ago, just on quite a lot of LSD, having a really nice time. And then something changed. Some guy came up to me and he was asking if it was okay to put his tent in front of where we were. And I had to tell him no because we're playing gigs here and there's going to be a lot of people here later. And he got the hump about this, and it made me suddenly the whole feeling just sort of changed. I got a slight fear feeling washed through me, and I was thinking, what's going on here? It wasn't nice. I felt very uncomfortable for quite a few hours, really.
yeah,
And that the same like you. I don't really want to take large amounts of that kind of thing anymore because it's a little scary. You can get far away. It can be dangerous to your mind if you're not conscious and not hanging on there a little bit. You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
Right. And this
a
is
nice tune can help. A nice bit of music can help you find your center once again
yeah, yeah, and like body posture as well. That's what I found.
as well.
Like just
Completely, yeah.
straight
Terrence
back,
McKenna
shoulders
says
back.
singing.
Yeah.
Singing.
Yeah, that was his, get out of jail free card for
That
psychedelics. So just start singing and singing, and then it just, changes your
That
physiological state.
got rid of the machine elves.
Yeah.
yeah. I
Um,
still wait to meet them. I haven't met them yet. I've tried to find them, but I haven't met those little machine elves yet.
I know.
but okay, I wanted to ask about this. Not forgetting about Tim Leary, but the Earpmen. So, like for people that are watching, this would be one of them. Um, these are
Yes.
like these little creatures that I think are drawn by you, or at least they
Yeah,
come
they
from
are.
you. Um, like, do they come from anywhere? Like, did you encounter some of those beings, or is it related to any specific psychedelic trip you had?
Not particularly, no, because I was doing them long before I did any psychedelics or anything.
Okay.
I had my friend Oliver at school, and we used to sit at the back of the class making pictures like this, and I just carried on doing it. Really, I wasn't that interested in what they were trying to teach me sometimes at school, so I was kind of getting into a bit of that. And I always wanted to draw my own album covers when I was little. And so with that pungent effulgent cover, it was great. It was my first one. I could actually draw one of my pictures and have it on an album
That's
cover.
that's beautiful because I think it's so much fun when a band creates their own kind of mythology or their own universe. Like
Yeah,
I don't know if are they inspired by Gong in some way?
not really. No,
Like it's
no,
just it's a funny coincidence because they have some similar kind of elf-like characters that are
they
part of
do.
their
Yeah,
story. So it's funny that it both of you guys kind of
I yeah,
stumbled upon.
yeah. It's funny that is. There's a few pictures in as I was growing up that used to inspire me. Really, I mean, I remember when I was quite small, looking at that King Crimson cover with the face on the front. This
uh,
one with
20 20th Century Schizoid Man, is that the one?
I think that's a track on it.
Code of the Crimson King.
That one, yes, yeah.
Right.
And I used to, when I was like 6 and 7, I used to stare at that for ages. That cover, I thought it was hilarious. I loved it. So I started drawing pictures, and then sort of cartoons. Robert Crumb comics, I used to look at a lot. I like their big noses and weird shaped faces and stuff. I've always loved it. I've always loved it.
Yeah,
Don't know why.
it's so much fun because it feels like you're not just like listening to music, you're kind of entering this universe. There's like a level of world building that has taken place.
Sure. Yeah.
with all the visual art around it. And I think that's so much fun when bands put love and energy into that side of the equation, not just the music, but also kind of the
Yeah.
visual representations. And
It doesn't happen quite the same anymore with bands, I don't think, anymore.
no, it's a shame. Like the album is kind of, dwindling a bit as an art form, which I think is a real shame.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I try not to focus too much on what's happening
I
and
mean,
just
yeah, psychedelics would have been a very obvious explanation for more visuals in
Yeah.
representation of music, because of, just the synesthesia essentially that you can experience on psychedelics when it,
Yeah.
all translates into these crazy geometries.
Sure. This is something which I get a lot with synesthesia.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. Every sound, if I look into my mind, will make a shape. It's really strange.
yeah, it's the same I've noticed with you and with Shpongle. Is like it's less a song, but more of almost like a sonic landscape.
Yeah, a place or
It's
whatever.
got
Yeah.
the mountains, it's got the sun, it's got the trees. Um, it is very visual and it is very kind of textural and it really pops out, especially if you're listening to it in an altered state.
Yeah, yeah.
It can
Many
get
people
very visual.
I've heard this from a lot of people. Really, they listen to the tunes and then they sort of suddenly hear it when they're on a bit of a psychedelic tip, and yeah, they say I didn't actually realize what was going on until I heard it like this. And yes, right, I understand.
Yeah.
Or even if you don't take psychedelics before listening to the music, even if you're not on a journey while
Yeah,
experiencing the music,
yeah.
even if you just had a psychedelic experience at some point and you listen to the music, it's like, I got
One click. Yeah.
see where this comes from. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I had this experience like 2 or 3 days ago, just listening to Earthland, and I was like, oh, like I just remembered God
Yeah.
for
Oh,
a few
yeah.
brief
Well,
seconds.
wonderful. Yeah, yeah.
I think that's the pinnacle of what music can accomplish is bringing that uh, connection to people.
Sure.
But
Wow.
let's
Yeah.
talk a little bit about that moment about Tim Leary
Yes, I
Yeah,
want to
in the
say
90s.
real quick, if anybody doesn't know who he is, then check out the book. I would recommend How to Change Your Mind by Michael Pollan. He features quite prominently in that book. It covers the history of how they were starting out trials with psychedelics in the what 60s
60s,
yeah.
50s, and
don't
60s.
and yeah, if anybody wants to kind of just read up on the legal history of these chemicals and how to handle them with the respect that I believe they should be handled with,
Yeah.
then that's a great book to start with to get going and to get context on Timothy Leary and what part he played in that story. But yes, without further ado, please tell us how you met.
Well, what happened there then? Okay, so we were playing a gig in LA, and during sound check, this guy came called Zach Leary, and it turned out, yeah, okay, he was Timothy Leary's child son.
Right.
He was a kind of, I don't know, sort of late teens, early 20s guy with long hair. Managed to get us a nice bit of weed and stuff to smoke, and then he said, "Look, my dad would like to come to the gig tonight. Is that okay? Can you put him on the guest list?" Of course, we said, "Yeah."
Wow.
And so then we did the gig, and it was crazy gig, full on, proper, intense Ozric gig with a full light show and everything.
Where was this?
It was in Los Angeles. I can't remember the club.
Okay.
Um, and then after it, we went to the dressing room, and there was Timothy Leary sat there. I said, "Oh, I hope that wasn't too mad for you." And he said, "No, no, I love those strobes, And he said, "Come around tomorrow and come to my house and have a cup of tea." So he gave us the address, and next morning we went up the hill to the Hollywood Hills, and he had this house there, and we went up to his door, and there was a sign saying, "Please come in," written on the door, a little handwritten note. So we walked in there, and there was a few sort of hippie types in there, maybe 5 or 6 people wandering about, and there was a lovely looking house, and there he was, Timothy himself, and he said, "Come in, help yourself. There's the kettle over there. Make a cup of tea." And this was all very familiar for me. Suddenly, I was like rather than in America on tour, I was suddenly in someone's house with socks, no shoes, and just wondering about making a cup of tea with a kettle, and it felt really comfortable and warm and very, very nice. And then we went out into his garden, and he showed us his garden with little hummingbirds and palm trees, and he was just very. And after a bit, he just said, "Look, okay, I'm getting on these days. I need to sleep." And so that was that, and off we went. And we just had a very pleasant afternoon hanging out with him and his friends.
That sounds
No,
like a good time. Was this the infamous LSD mansion that people speak about? That
no, I don't think it was. No, no, it was his private house up in the Hollywood Hills.
okay, it was
He was
probably
quite,
a bit later on,
yeah, he was quite old at the time. He was fairly elderly, you know.
right?
But lovely. He was very, very nice guy, and his friends were really nice, and had a very lovely afternoon, really. Yeah.
Oh,
Nice.
beautiful.
Did you get talking on psychedelics at all?
I didn't know because I just thought, well, you know, everybody's going to want to talk to you about this, and let's
Yeah,
have a day off.
Just let him rest. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was kind of nice like that. He wasn't asking about music, and I wasn't asking about LSD, and we were just sitting there chatting about what a nice world it is we live in, or something like this. That's what it seemed to be to me. Yeah.
yeah.
That's
That's
awesome.
beautiful.
That's awesome.
This kind of brings me to, because Tim Leary was slightly connected in some ways to the Beatles, and
Oh yeah.
Tim over here, his favorite band is the Beatles.
I did
Yeah.
not have an idea that Timothy Leary was in any way associated with the Beatles.
Yeah,
That's
there's
new to
a
me.
picture of him like when John Lennon was doing his, where he was staying in his bed with Yoko Ono doing this kind of peace demonstration.
Yeah.
There's some pictures of Tim Leary hanging out there with them, and apparently, like some of their songs, I could be wrong, but some of their songs were kind of referencing Tim Leary in some way.
Whoa.
I've heard
Okay.
that. What's the intro song to Abbey Road, "Come Together"?
Yeah.
I've heard people say that song is a reference to Tim Leary. I don't know if it's true,
All right. Yeah.
but
I
but
mean, maybe it's certainly very psychedelic lyrics.
yeah,
Um,
it's referencing kind of a cowboy character, which Tim Leary certainly was.
I suppose. Yeah.
But incidentally, your father, Ed, was friends with the Beatles.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you grew up, you met some of them, and
I
he
did
actually,
this time. Yeah.
are you
uh,
serious right now?
yeah, and apparently, correct me if I'm wrong, he was the person who introduced the Beatles to the Maharishi. Was that his name, their guru?
Yes, he was. Yeah.
So that may
He,
have
he,
impacted their
he,
journey in a big way.
yeah. I mean, my father was a sculptor, and he was making a head of the Maharishi, and said to George, "There's somebody I'm working with at the moment. I'd really like to introduce you to him." You know, and that happened, and a whole load of things stemmed from that for sure. You know,
Maybe some of the most crazy Beatles albums may not have taken place if,
maybe it's hard to say.
yeah.
Wait, all right. This is my time to be the fangirl. All right. Which Beatles members did you meet exactly? I'm kind of Helgi
Well,
didn't warn me about this. What?
when I
Yeah, I
was
wanted to
really,
surprise you.
when I was really young, they I met them all. They came round for after their gig. They played a gig in London, and they came round to our house afterwards. Secretly, they sort of jumped in a few cars and then got whizzed around. And then they were in my house. I was about 6 years old, and I heard this stuff downstairs going on, and thought, "What's all that noise?"
What year was this?
It's probably 65.
So yeah, when they were still touring.
Yeah, yeah. And then they came around, and I remember going downstairs, seeing what all the fuss was about. No, they were all sitting around the table. My dad had made some food for them. He'd made, I don't know, some bacon and eggs or something. He'd cooked and all that. And then after a bit, these faces started appearing at the window, and they said, "Oh, we got to go. We've been found," and off they went. But then, on several occasions, George Harrison used to come around to our house as a friend, and used to sit there hanging out and playing his guitar, and it was amazing, really fun, really nice times. It's very nice. Yeah. So Yeah, no,
I think I
I
might need a moment.
Yeah, I deliberately did not mention this to Timmy just because I wanted to throw him a curveball because I know he loves the Beatles.
Oh, okay, all right.
Son of a bitch.
George told me a couple of things. Because he saw that I was into music, and he saw I was starting to get bands together and stuff. And he was saying, right, the first band you're in, it won't be the one. And then the other thing he said was that you can learn more on stage. You can learn more on stage in half an hour than you can in 3 weeks rehearsal. He was saying that actually being actually on stage and how you have to deal with it with an actual real load of people there is the thing you have to learn if you're going to be a performing musician.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, notwithstanding the fact that the whole crowd is screaming at the top of their lungs.
To the point where they couldn't even hear themselves. Yeah, they couldn't really hear themselves. Apparently, yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering at some point, like, wait, why are they moving so strangely? Like, John Lennon in the front doing this kind of weird bop, and I heard that it was because, they couldn't hear themselves, so like they needed to indicate the tempo with their body movements.
Like the conductor, yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway, yeah, yeah. I've
Oh
not heard
wow.
that before, but yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
could be wrong. I don't know. I'm just, heard from Beatle fans.
Um,
Oh,
thank
amazing.
God for in-ear monitor systems.
Oh,
Yeah.
so good, so good, so good, man. No, since that, I've been in ears for about 6 years, 6 or 7 years now,
Mhm.
and the difference is quite incredible. Really,
Yeah.
very, very cool.
Yeah, just yeah.
But what do you think about some people say that, all this increase in technology has taken like a little bit of the raw rock and roll spirit out of the music because it's all become so perfect and it's also perfectly mixed that people kind of miss the raw, just turning the speaker, the amplifier up to 11 and
And then going for it,
going for it.
I do miss the pleasure of that.
Hmm.
Hmm.
And what's really funny is nowadays when you're backstage and there's another band on the stage and you're from behind, all you can hear is the drums because there's no amps, there's nothing. It's just drums and headphones.
Right.
So from behind the stage, you can't really hear anything else of the sound apart from the drums. It's bizarre. No monitor speakers on the stage and stuff.
Right.
Suppose that still kind of keeps the band together at least.
Yeah,
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 it's
yeah,
always there's give and take with all this stuff.
yeah, exactly.
Well, we just did a little bathroom break, and you just informed us, Ed, like we knew already that you were a little short on time, so you're preparing a live set right now.
I am, yeah.
We'll let you go in a second, but I just wanted to know what you're up to right now.
Well, there's three tunes which we used to play. Not 15 years ago was the last time we played them, and we are going to get them back up and running, but slightly new, modernized versions of them. Three tracks one called Chewier,
That's
one
love
called,
that one.
that one's crazy, man. Rehearsing that one is good fun.
Yeah, Eat Static, he did a good remix of that, if I'm not
That's,
mistaken.
that's right. Yes, they did. Yeah, Even Chewier, whatever it's called. Yeah.
Yeah, right,
Okay, and then also this one called Pyramidion,
right.
the bouncy sort of dancey kind of electronic sound one, and then another one which is an acoustic track called Sources, which is great for me because I love playing acoustic guitar,
Wait, that's
especially
not the same as Attack of the Saucers. Saucers is different.
no, no, it's just called Sources. It's a little acoustic tune in D.
Nice.
Some very strange timings and psychedelic box of fireworks.
Awesome.
Mm.
Yeah, I hope I'll be able to catch you guys live when my freedom to travel becomes
Oh,
greater. It's something I definitely want to do.
that would be nice. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and
That would be awesome. Where are you playing?
Just up in the UK for now. Yeah, just up and down the little clubs up and down England.
you're not with Gong anymore.
No, no,
Okay,
they're playing with this band called Henge at the moment, um,
right.
which I haven't really heard yet, but I think they're good.
Okay.
But yeah, no, we did a lot of gigs with Gong actually, to
Yeah,
the
I
point
noticed.
where it felt like almost too many. In fact,
Yeah,
it was,
right.
you know, It's a lot of it.
Yeah, but it's a good mix, and I imagine there's a lot of overlap between the listener base of
Yes, I mean, yeah, there is, but they're definitely very different sound to what we have. They are very different nowadays.
different and not. I mean, they have changed slightly.
I'm talking about nowadays Gong, now
Yeah,
the new Gong. They're, very vocal orientated they are.
yeah. You guys' sound resembles more the Gong of the 70s, I'd say.
Yeah, maybe, yeah, yeah.
Um, but yeah, I wanted to, before we drive the conversation to a close, I wanted to bring in one name, um, Guthrie Govan, which happens to be my favorite guitar player. I've heard he is yours as well. Is
That's
that
true.
correct?
I
Yeah.
think of all of them, I can listen to him easier than a lot of the amazing guitarists there are because of his. Don't know what it is. He's English, isn't he? So
I think he's Scottish, if I'm not mistaken, but
okay, it
I
sounds
know,
English.
yeah, he is, from that area. But I know what you mean. It's like he's not only just a force of nature technically, but he just has this amazing soul and feel.
Yeah,
So it doesn't
yeah.
feel just like wackery. Like everything has like all the fast notes are very meticulously placed and they all have a meaning. It's
And the first notes he does are there for a reason other than the speed of it.
yes.
It's not just he's saying, "Look how quick I can play." He's saying, "Look, when these notes are played together in a very quick thing, they sound like this, and that evokes something here." It sparks my mind. It does something. I love his playing. I really do.
Yeah. And I had a moment about 2 or 3 years ago where I had kind of reached a plateau. It seems to happen for people when they're
Yeah.
practicing guitar that you improve a lot and then you kind of reach a plateau.
Mhm.
And then I watched an improvisation from him and it just showed me how many levels there are to go. And I just made a commitment to get as close to his level as I possibly could. So, like,
Mhm.
I've been improving drastically for the past 2 or 3 years, just directly inspired by him.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to bring his name up because I was aware that you were also.
No, wonderful, lovely, lovely that he exists and plays like that. It's fantastic.
Mhm.
What you're saying there about the levels of playing, it never stops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
It
gonna
never
jump on
stops.
that as well.
You can't perfect it. You cannot get it good enough for yourself. Me, I
Yeah.
can't. I will never be good enough for my own ears
Right.
because there's always more to do, more to learn, more.
That's a
So much.
good attitude to have because then you're always striving and
Yeah,
exploring.
always inspired and busy and happy to be always a child in there who's
Yeah.
learning this massive thing which you can't achieve. You can't ever get to the end of it,
Yeah.
thankfully.
Yeah.
So keep me happy for many years.
Right. What was the quote from Les Paul? Let me see if I can find it. Um, Something about how you'll never master the guitar. A guitar is something you can hold and love, and it's never gonna bug you. But here's the secret about the guitar, it's defiant. It will never let you conquer it. The more you get
Mm,
involved with it, the more you realize how little you know.
yeah, fantastic.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's very, very cool. Thanks for that.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Yeah, because it's not like a keyboard. It is not like a keyboard. Every time you play that riff, it's a different story. Every single take is a different story.
Yeah, it's the case with the string instruments is the all the ways you can manipulate the string and hit it differently and
Yeah.
bend it differently. There's so many variables
Mm,
different to like when you're just hitting a note on a piano, the only
yeah.
variable is the intensity.
Yeah.
But when you're hitting one note in the guitar, there's just an infinite. Not to like put the guitar on a pedestal above all the other instruments,
Oh,
but
but it's like a raw animal. It's a
yeah,
wild animal compared to a piano.
yeah,
It's yeah. you gotta play it like really play it with a big, large capital P at the beginning. You gotta play that.
yeah.
Yeah.
And now all my playing has started to sound uncannily like Guthrie Govan just because I've been soaking him
Oh,
in like a sponge. And so somebody
yeah.
introduced me the other day as Guthrie Govan from Wish.com, and I took it as a compliment.
Yeah, man. No, I heard that bit of you playing the guitar, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago or something like this. On and on and on. Keep going, keep going. You didn't stop. It's amazing, really.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank you,
man.
thank you. It must have been Jumping John John Egan, the flute player of old from Ozric Tentacles,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
shared it.
Was it him? Yeah, because that
Yeah.
was great. I was highly entertained
Oh,
by that
thank you. Yeah, it's
all the
it's
way
an
through.
honor.
It's great. So some people can't do it without gaps,
Right.
and I can do it, and you can do it, and it's lovely. And you just sit there and just play, and you play, and you think, and you play, and you just keep going, and keep going, and keep going.
Yeah, this is the magic of improvisation, like
Yeah,
which Guthrie is just a master of.
yeah,
It's just a different state of mind because you're putting your conceptual mind away and you're letting your intuition and your muscle memory kind of just flow. So it is this kind
yeah.
of trance state, this flow state.
It is
Um,
completely, completely is. Yeah, that's why we do it because it feels great.
yes.
Really, it's
Yeah.
a well-kept secret that playing guitar well is a real pleasure.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I hate to say it, I'm
Oh
not trying to
boy.
be ego or whatever, but it's if you can do it well to satisfy yourself even a little bit, it's one of the best, greatest pleasures on the planet to be had, I think.
Yeah.
Yes, especially
Yeah.
when you reach like a new level that you didn't before.
Oh yeah,
It's like
yeah,
wow, it's and it's hard to put your finger on like how that happens, but this has started to happen for me more recently where I just tap into something, just a new level of playing the guitar, and there's no like specific exercise or thing that I was working on. It's almost like I don't know, a metaphysical thing of you just
Mhm.
enter into a new dimension of being where you have other capacities that you didn't before, like
Yeah,
this quantum leap type thing.
yeah. And
Yeah,
it's I sometimes find it's very inspiring to stop playing for a
right.
week or so, for a couple of weeks, because then you start again. It's like, oh yeah, these little things have been going on in my subconscious. Here they are.
Right,
Funny.
Mm.
right.
Yeah, I'd
Oh,
say as a last note on that, I think it's the mindfulness that really does it. When you're improvising, you're not allowed to be anywhere other than right here, right now. There's nowhere
exactly.
else you could possibly be to make it work.
It's absolutely happening right now. That's the thing. Yeah, it's very, very cool.
Yeah.
Always a
Well.
pleasure, that is.
Indeed.
And on that note,
We're driving this to a close. The spaceship is landing, and
Mhm.
just like an Ozric song, we're gonna end this on a friendly note. We take you to outer space and right back home.
Yeah, man, for sure.
yeah, wow, real pleasure meeting you.
I was just going to say the same thing. It's been an absolute pleasure. I don't often have conversations like this, so it's a rare treat for me. It's been lovely.
Uh,
Thank
Yeah,
you very much.
I, I can't believe I'm hearing that from you when it's the exact thing I'm thinking myself.
There you go. Like mine. Yeah, man. Cool.
Awesome. Then
beautiful.
good luck with all your projects, and we'll
Thank you
uh,
very much.
we'll be sure to put some links to your shows in the show notes so
Great.
everybody
Thank you very
listening
much.
check it out. Yeah.
Lovely. Take care then, guys. It's been a
Take
pleasure.
care. Been a
You too, brother.
pleasure. Thank you. Thanks everybody for listening to this episode of the Hewkii and Flammeus show. I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as we did.
Oh my God, we really enjoyed this one. Yeah.
So for the outro song for this episode, we have a song of mine that's directly inspired by Ed Wynne and the Ozric Tentacles, as well as Shpongle. It's definitely inspired by both of them. But yeah, the song is called Entities on the Other Side. It's from my first album, The Guy in Mind. I think I made this, I must have been about 17 when I made this song. And it's one of my favorites of my own stuff.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm super impressed by it. I just heard it for the first time. We just listened to it before pressing record for this outro, and wow, it's such a banger. Especially the way the last groove there hits it hits so sweetly. How it goes, also see very clearly how it's inspired um by Ed's music, by but just by the fact that it sounds like a band jamming for a lot of the time. It's like this. It's there's a grumdroove and a bass.
Grumdroove.
Grumdroove.
That's a good song name. I may steal that actually.
That would be a glum move.
Yeah, I'm writing it down.
A
Grumdroove.
Grumdroove is a glum move. Um,
Yeah.
So, well, you got the same drum groove, I was going to say, and the bass groove to that, and that just kind of runs in the background for a very long time, and all kinds of stuff happens around it, which sounds like a band jamming and writing a tune like that, which is what, yeah.
Yeah,
So
I,
at
I
least that's
tried
my
to
impression. Mhm.
I tried to make it sound not too computerized, even if it's all made in a computer. And I did a lot of creative stuff with this. This is one of the few songs where I've used my own voice, like all the. I didn't do the throat singing in this song, but all the other kind of tribal voices, and I did a bunch of like stuff sounds like this and putting delay on it, and you know, yeah, stuff like this. And then what did I do? I think probably could have put a coin in a glass and like swerved it around, like flinging my finger into a glass, stuff like this. I did a bunch of interesting creative um, little sound effects that you can hear in the background. And yeah, then I'm also playing around with 7/8 time signature. So it's very diverse, has a lot of little twists and turns, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'd say 7/4. Doot, da, doot, da, right? Or would you
Right.
think of it as a 7/8? It felt too
It
slow for
doesn't
me.
really matter. It's the same thing it's just the level of magnification. But interesting thing I do
That's
do
true.
though is I have um, a ride cymbal that is hitting like just uh, fourth notes. I don't know,
Yeah,
quarter notes.
quarter. No, half notes. If it's a 7/4, then it would have been half notes. And you're
Right.
gonna say that it extends over two like patterns of seven and loops after two
Yeah,
repetitions,
so
essentially.
so on the first round it's just on the one, and then on the second it's on the two, but it's just
Yeah.
consistently moving along. There. Yeah, yeah, you got it.
Pow. Yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah. So, without further ado, enjoy Entities on the Other Side, and we'll see you on the next one.
We'll see you
On
on
the
the
other
next one.
side.
Mwah.
We know that from time to time there arise among human beings people who seem to exude love as naturally as the sun gives out heat.
Thank